So I did a thing at the last second, which is how I usually do it.
So Bandai have been really making huge pushes into Western markets in the past half a decade. They bought Bluefin, who previously used to distribute goods around the United States for Bandai. Premium Bandai has made collectors groan all over the world.
At Premium Bandai, everything is the highest quality, thanks to our serious attention to detail.
And they've been hard at work attempting to grow into the evil, giant, transnational conglomerate they always dreamed they could be. Being a giant company, Bandai does a lot of shit, and a big part of their business, at least in Japan, is gacha machines, or capsule toys if you only can speak Turbo Normie. I'll spare everyone the history lesson, but these things have been around for a real long time in Japan.
Hey, what's this?
Oh no!
But recently, Bandai has been doing these pop-up store capsule stations outside of doing it at huge conventions, and one of them just happened to show up pretty close to my house. And my reaction to that is, what?
Huh?
When anything remotely interesting like pop-up stores or like limited time special event things sort of happen with like niche anime stuff, it's usually in 3 locations around California or Diet California. So it's kind of nice to be actually able to go to one of these things and see what it's about. And I do remember going to one of these before that was just kind of like a couple unattended machines sitting around in a mall. But I guess the stores are still kind of a relatively new thing, because there's actually only a couple of them despite the machines being in a lot of places. But again, like 6 days ago, one of these just popped up at a local mall. So on a complete impulse, I decided to give it a shot. As I walked inside the Oakland Mall, it was actually really kind of refreshing to see a shopping center in decent shape. It might just be my personal nostalgia, but I love malls. Not just shopping at them, but the art and architecture of shopping centers just generally is breathtaking to me. It's also a nice bonus to be able to go enjoy something that's relevant to my interests that isn't, you know, in front of a computer screen. I tried looking for it on the map, but the store was so new it actually wasn't on the directory yet. On the way, I passed one of those drop-in mall arcades that are becoming more and more of a thing. While I was mostly just Dave and Buster leftovers, they did have Mario Kart GP, albeit with the original screens ripped out. But after walking around the corner, the Gachapon store was actually just right there. Also, holy shit, it was fucking packed. Not just with people though, it was wall to wall with islands in the middle of Bandai's newest style Gachapon machines, which in my opinion look a little less interesting than the older ones. I'm not gonna lie though, it was kind of special. It was a genuinely cool experience and honestly kind of overwhelming at first. Until I started to notice some things.
1.
there were a lot of repeat machines, which makes sense since certain pulls are going to be more popular, but it kind of ruined the mystique a bit. The other thing to note is that you're only really going to have access to Bandai owned or licensed Gachapon lines here, and I personally found the selection to be a bit typical, and that was kind of disappointing to me. I wouldn't call it bad. I think there was enough of a mix of mass appeal stuff as well as a sprinkle of niche things like aqua shooters or Gachapon heroes. I just wasn't finding anything that made me really want to cash in my $15 I brought to play around with. Oh shit, it's Small Ame! Alright, we're gonna pull. Where's the tokens? So as I was walking around and waiting in line to cash in, I saw that there was a sign there that said each token was $2, which seems a little pricey, but with the logistics of the whole thing and the exchange rate, $2 a pull seems fine. I waved goodbye to my $10 bill and got these really nice shiny Gachapon tokens, which actually I think are really cool. It's a nice touch. If you've ever looked into minting your own tokens, it's actually really expensive to do. Back at the machine I wanted to pull, I squat down, prepared to put my coin in when I finally noticed it and about shit my pants. This machine required 4 tokens for 1 pull. In fact, all of the machines required multiple tokens, with the bare minimum being an eye-watering $4 a pull. That means a single roll of this Hololive Gacha costs $8 fucking dollars. $8? A lot of people probably don't understand why I find this particularly offensive, so let me explain. Pretty much at this point, all Gachapon are made to be sold in Japan, and like all products, they have an MSRP in yen, and Bandai or Takara Tomy or whoever sets this price themselves so that all parties involved can profit and continue to grow while covering all the conceivable costs in order to provide the good and or service. Some Gachapon series are actually decently expensive, but most in Japan range anywhere from 300 to 500 yen depending on a number of factors. The very Hololive set that we are about to pull is on the Bandai JP Gachapon website, listed at 500 yen a pull. This pull, one of the most expensive pulls in the store and one of the more expensive pulls in general, should be about $3 to $3.25 per roll. And before the comments start rattling off about regional pricing or shipping costs, let me further break it down for you. Bandai owns its own distribution channel, aka Bluefin, since 2018, meaning that while stores can order Bandai products and having another party involved in the transaction will add to the cost of a product, Bandai owns and operates these Gachapon stores, meaning that the only added costs to any products Bandai chooses to sell or any stores they choose to set up are logistical ones, shipping and operating storefronts, which can be selectively managed and can also vary from region to region here in the United States. The cost of making the gacha prizes and a fleet of machines stays consistent and even profitable, since at the Japanese MSRP, line still goes up. And because Bandai not only makes and ships these things in bulk, the extra cost per item, translating to a cost per pull, should be relatively minimal. I can't reasonably say that there shouldn't be some kind of price adjustment for carting all this shit halfway across the world. $4 for a 500 yen equivalent or $1 a token is pretty well within fairness, even considering all the extra logistics. And maybe my girl math is a little off on this one. Maybe there's some fucked up business tax or something I'm missing, but I think everyone who's watching this can agree that it's a little unreasonable for Bandai to have a price hike of 250%! But today, for the sake of posterity and education, I played the fool and rolled my fucking gotcha. Ame is probably the most sought after one for this line, considering the whole Wolfie Hololive thing started with Ame. I would have also been happy with Goober Shark, even though she kind of just sits on her coattails these days. But I think the one I would have been the most happy with actually would have been Ina. I've got a lot of respect for her as an artist who managed to break into the Japanese art scene, even if Cover Corp was kind of a kingmaker.
Hololive is a good example of this because it's almost instant success. You don't have to be a good streamer. You will get success, right?
Her success is a bit of an inspiration for me that maybe one day I'll make it to Japan myself and sell at Comiket. Well, at least it's not fucking Cali, I guess. At that point, I debated whether or not to cash in for another pull. Unfortunately, I was $1 short of being able to afford enough tokens in cash. But the machine also took credit cards, so I headed back, only to see that the minimum credit card purchase was $20 fucking dollars? So I made the executive decision to, instead of throwing away $20 down the drain, I just cash in 2 more tokens with my remaining funds and try to find something else to pull. I walked around the whole store and not a ton caught my eye that I could get for 2 to 3 tokens. It's not that the selection wasn't varied, it was just boring. This store is clearly designed to be a vampire that preys on con goers and new weebs, also people who don't understand what their dollar is actually worth when it comes to Japanese goods. I wouldn't actually be surprised if Bandai picked up this habit of awful pricing from hosing off Californians at Comic-Con or Anime Expo. I decided to go with this Bochi rubber keychain that I saw at the interest. I almost went with this Puyo Puyo one, but I'm gonna be real, I suck massive dick at Puyo Puyo. I'd probably be happy with any of the Bochis, and my odds were about 50%, so things were looking up. So after receiving Orange Woman debuff for a second time, I began to make my way out of the store when the final unfortunate thing passed through my mind. It would likely be actually cheaper to use a deputy service to purchase a full set of whatever gacha it was you were trying to pull from a Japanese scalper. Let's use the small Hololive set again as an example. If I spend maybe 5 minutes doing a very basic search for this set using terms from Bandai Gachapon JP's own website, you can quickly find many places that offer the full set for what would be an outrageous price in yen, but is actually cheaper than Bandai's own store. Using the machine that I just pulled from, if I were to roll perfect pulls every single time, 5 times in a row, to get one of each keychain in the set, it would be $40 at minimum in the best case scenario. Or I could just do this. And that's the literal bare minimum effort to get the item right now.
It's my
Cunny.
and I need it now!
With no gambling as a guaranteed set. I'm sure I could do better if I just watched and waited for a couple days and checked a couple other places. But we blues, you have to pay for deputy service fees and international shipping. Hey, I've been buying shit from Japan for almost 15 years. Shipping costs for small items like gacha are either small or free inside of domestic Japan. It's also in yen, so you can leverage the exchange rate if you're smart and have a credit card that doesn't charge you for conversion fees. Deputy service fees are also almost non-existent due to the exchange rate. And when you build a box with your deputy service, you can get multiple things you want at once that are not limited to Gachapon, so that the cost of shipping goes down, and the more items you buy, you can include small, light items like this for little to no shipping cost. Your dollar goes farther. If I haven't, been obvious enough in this video so far, The Bandai Gachapon stores are kind of a ripoff. Even when you consider the really cool experience, and it's legitimately cool, don't get me wrong, of using the machines, getting to see the whole setup, and the fact that these stores have to be built and constructed, which involves a lot of logistical overhead, the price per pull is just way too high. And this is before you consider the fact that it's gacha and your pull is going to be random. In theory, then, the goal would be to make it as affordable as possible to get people to pull as much as possible on multiple machines. So unless their Twitter intern slaps me upside the head with the real on-the-book numbers about their costs and pricing, which they'll never do, I have no faith in Bandai to not gouge fans of their work when there is no reason why they shouldn't nor couldn't other than goodwill. Especially since Bandai has also been engaged in all kinds of fuckery in recent years, trying to dodge the exchange rate at the expense of hobbyists and collectors. As much as I'd like to say you can only treat your customers like cash cows for so long before it comes back to bite you in the ass, with the amount of people in that store happily enabling this outright hostility, I don't expect Bandai to come back down to earth anytime soon, maybe not even ever. But Rambler, with the high prices to pay for the real experience of pulling the gacha, you can't objectively say it's overpriced because the pulls are worth what people are willing to spend on them. Hey, look at this. This is you. Do you want to be this guy? No? Then shut the fuck up. And if you do, congratulations, you are now a Disneyland adult. But despite the overall tone of this video being a little condescending for comedic purposes, I didn't really set out to make this to insult or deride people. My goal is simply to inform that even with the really cool experience of the custom tokens, getting to use a real machine, seeing the whole range of stuff you can pull for, if you are actually looking for what's inside the machines, you are better served buying your merch from another source. I do realize that the experience has a value itself, and I can't really talk too much shit since, again, I went and pulled despite everything I'm saying. I've also made purchases based on sentimentality before. I'd argue this entire channel is fueled by it, and I've spent money on things that might have not necessarily been the best bang for the buck fire sale, take them to the cleaners deal. I just want people to know the whole story of what they're getting into, I guess. This really wasn't a planned video. This all just kind of happened over the course of like 2 or 3 days. It is kind of a shame though, since I really think the idea of a Gachapon store is fucking sick. Again though, I just cannot get past the price. Unfortunately, it's not really gonna matter much at the end of the day. I could fucking scream into the mic all I want. If anime conventions can still get away with fleecing dumb weebs for over a decade, I'm sure the Gachapon store will continue to be filled with people who don't know any better. Oh shit. I forgot I still have a token left. Now I can't get anything with the minimum pull of 2 tokens with this guy, but I think I've got just the place he can go. There. Oh yeah, spoilers for the next video, by the way. Also, I went to Micro Center to chill out for a second since it's literally across the street, but I saw this fucking Red Dragon anime girl keyboard and it's using clearly AI generated art. You have enough money to pay a real artist to design a character for your fucking shitty Chinesium grade keyboard. And also, Micro Center, shame on you for stocking this product. You guys should know better. Come on.